I tell stories about history in the Americas or myths or legends, but today's story is much more personal. I was sitting around the table at my cousin's house in Desamparados, Costa Rica. It was summer 1976. Someone asked me something, and I didn't know the answer to it. And I said those two cursed words. No Sabo. The whole table erupted in laughter, and they weren't laughing with me. They called me and my little brother and sister Los Gringuitos, my family. I was 9. There can be this thing in the Latino culture in the United States that if you don't speak perfect Spanish, you are not Latino enough. It's time we address that, especially now when Latinos are being judged for things far more important than language. It's about who we are. So if you've ever been called a no sabo kid or made to feel like you weren't Latino or Hispanic enough, this video's for you. I want to talk today about what the label is and what it isn't. And if you want to learn to speak Spanish with confidence without having that knot in your stomach, then I'll show you what worked for me. And hey, it's not a course. I'm not selling you anything. It's real steps that I took as an adult to reconnect with the language, the culture, and the people around me. So what is a no sabo kid? It's a label given to US-born or US-raised Latinos who struggle with Spanish or who don't speak it at all. I tried looking up to see when the label started because, of course, I did. And all I found is that it gained popularity about starting 20 years ago. Now, if you know more about how the term no sabo started, let me know down below. But what was made abundantly clear to me around that table that day is that no sabo is the wrong way of saying no sé. I don't know. You say no sabo and suddenly you're the joke. But here's the thing, the experience is older than the term. Long before anybody called it that, I and many other people were living that. And I'm pushing 60. In some places they're called pochos. In Miami they're called cubanos arrepentidos. Different names, same idea. You are not one of us. Funny thing is, Spanish was actually my first language. But once I started school, it slipped away. And no matter what my mother or father tried to do, I just didn't speak it. And then I flat out refused. I can be slightly oppositional sometimes. And then my brother and sister followed right behind me. It's a kind of shame, embarrassment, the kind that makes you want to leave the room running, and that sense of not belonging in either world. Let's talk about where this can come from. For a long time, speaking Spanish in the US wasn't just discouraged, it was punished. Kids got in trouble for it, adults too. And who am I kidding? They're still doing it. Parents were told that English was the path to success, and generation after generation, they had to make hard choices about how to fit in with their families. But in my case, it wasn't my parents, it was me. There weren't many Latino kids in my group in Silver Spring, Maryland in 1976. I wanted to fit in. So, little by little, I stopped speaking Spanish on purpose. I could understand everything, but ask me something in Spanish, no sabo. Even if I did know. Pretending I didn't know was better than being ashamed of not being able to respond correctly. But here's what we forget. Not speaking the language isn't a failure. It's not a betrayal. It's what can happen to a kid who's trying to maneuver two worlds at the same time. So if you've ever felt guilty about not speaking Spanish, or someone made you feel less than Latino for it, that label doesn't define you. It never did. So for a long time, not speaking the language, even though I wanted to, made me feel not Latino enough. I bought that. But when I went to college, go Gators, things changed. Because I started taking steps. Not a program, not a course. Steps. On my own, as an adult, without anybody else knowing. I studied Spanish again, at my own pace. One day I walked into Library East, or maybe Library West, I forget which one, and I started reading Cervantes, Garcia Marquez, newspapers like La Nación or El Diario de las Américas, on my own. Sometimes with a little dictionary right there next to me because some words were just way beyond me, especially the Cervantes. And little by little I made progress, poco a poco. I made friends from every corner of Latin America: Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Venezolanos, Mexicanos, Uruguayos, Colombians, and people of mixed Latino descent, like me. I got into their music, their humor, their families, their food. And yes, the stomach is still here from the food. And in Gainesville, Florida, I found something else. Being bicultural was actually something that could be cool. Girls didn't hate it. Just being real. Back then there was a nightclub with a Latin night once a week with an insanely talented tropical band. And you could go ask a girl, take her by the hand, and go out and dance. Definitely positive reinforcement. And then one day, completely on my own, I added the accent to the second syllable of my last name. It's not colon, it's colon. It always should have been colon. And I kept at it, learning, absorbing like a sponge. And the plot twist? That kid who got laughed at the dinner table in 1976 in Costa Rica ended up moving to Mexico in 1993 because he spoke both languages. I built a career here, I built a family here, and all that still surprises me sometimes. Today, I'm a language translator and a voice actor in English and Spanish, and I've found connection to cultures in ways I never expected. That's what's led me to start this channel and tell stories about Latino culture in all of the Americas. Now, you don't have to move to another country that speaks Spanish to get there, but for me, I was sink or swim. That's how I'm wired. And if you think Cancun is just Miami with better beaches, you are a tourist. Estamos en Mexico. To really live here, you need understandable Spanish, not just lyrics from Bad Bunny. I mean, nothing against the guy, but no one will understand you here. But the moment that I realized that you didn't have to be perfect to belong, that changed everything. Today, I'm surrounded by family and friends who accept me exactly the way I am. I found my people. What I've learned is this, and I hope it helps. Everyone's path is different. But maybe these steps will help you flip the script, whether people have called you a no Sabo kid or you've just felt that way all your life. First, you have to make a conscious decision to reconnect with the language. Spoiler alert, you're going to make mistakes. Errores garrafales. But that's literally how you learn. Try to laugh at your mistakes. But if someone else laughs, well, that's on them. That is not on you. I mean, I still butcher things in Spanish all the time here at home. But I have a wife and kids who love to correct me, always with an eye roll. It's part of the process, though. Second, reconnect in your own way. Pick up a book, read a website in Spanish, get an app, do something, cook something your abuela made, ask your family to tell you stories, or get out of the environment where you feel the shame or the embarrassment and start over. Even if it's just a library or a park or online. Every step matters. Effort matters. And yes, if you want to make a change in your life, you have to make an effort. Sorry, dad moment. And finally, you're not alone. A lot of us are still trying to figure out what it means to be Latino today. Language is important, of course it is, but it's not the only thing that defines us. At the end of the day, being a no Sabo kid is just one part of a much bigger story. It's about resilience, identity, how we adapt, especially when those things shape the way the world treats us, how we treat each other, and how we see ourselves. When I look back, I can see how much my family sacrificed so that I could have the opportunities that I had. But for me, that meant I was going to lose some of the language along the way. But I got to reclaim it on my own terms, and that's something I'm proud of. Are you a no Sabo kid or a no Sabo adult? What's your story? Let me know down here below in the comments. I'm really interested in hearing what your experience was. And if you are reconnecting with your roots, hit the like and the subscribe button for more stories about the myths, legends, histories, and mysteries happening everywhere from Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. That's what we do here. And now you know why I have this channel. Maybe I got too personal, but that's the reason I do this. Y ahora, amigo, amiga, amigue. Hasta el próximo video. Adiós.